We are already in September when the weather is still pleasant. We have still some nice warm days, but the chilly mornings are already whispering that fall is coming. Even though I really love my fruity summer fragrances, I am getting more and more excited to revisit some of my heavier, thicker perfumes in my collection. In this video, we will talk about transitioning scents for the upcoming month. This will be the niche version. I have already posted the affordable version of this, and I'm also planning to bring you some designer alternatives later this week. Welcome to my channel. My name is Diana, and I am a fragrance enthusiast who has been collecting fragrances over the last 5 years. Here on this channel, we will talk about all fragrances. It doesn't matter if it's niche, designer or Middle Eastern, the ultimate goal is just to smell good and feel good. Today's selection will consist mainly of niche fragrances that are a bit heavier but still carry some aspects that will make them perfect for the Indian summer. The first one is a creamy, fruity floral fragrance from Parfums de Marly. It's Cassili. It is the less talked about sister of Oriana or Delina, but I would think that she deserves much more hype. Cassili was in fact my very first Parfums de Marly fragrance in my collection. It opens up with the notes of red currant, Bulgarian rose and floral notes. The middle notes are plum, frangipani, patalia and mimosa, and the base notes are vanilla, tonka bean and sandalwood. For me, the creamy fruitiness stands out the most in this perfume. Even though it has plum and berries according to the note structure, to my nose, I pick up some kind of dark peachiness. If you have watched my previous videos, then you must know by now that peach and mango are my favorite fruity notes in fragrances. In this perfume, the yellow flowers are adding an extra layer of a kind of tropical touch to this fragrance. However, I don't find them too strong, they are just creating a nice balance and adding to the creaminess of the vanilla and sandalwood in the base. Based on the notes, you would say that this is a spring-summer scent. However, it is thick enough to shine during the fall as well. I believe Santa Maria here on YouTube was the first one who suggested to try Cassili in fall, and she was absolutely right. I also had a quick look at Fragrantica as a preparation for this video, and I was flabbergasted how much hate or dislike this fragrance got over there. Some people called it synthetic. Someone even said that this was the worst fragrance they ever smelled. Honestly, I don't know if they smelled the same perfume or experienced the full wear. Yeah, I completely disagree. Also, the longevity for me is also nice. I am getting whiffs of the fragrance even after good 6 to 7 hours. However, I experienced that in high humidity it performs a bit weaker. So this was Cassili. The next perfume received a lot of hype last year. Everyone and their neighbor were talking about Carioca Heart from Jusbox. Yes, it is a tropical summer fragrance with the notes of mango, pineapple, rum, sandalwood, peony and ambroxan. However, I feel that because of the texture that comes from the rum and sandalwood, this fragrance can still do well during the colder days. The tropical touch of the pineapple and mango will bring you some sunshine which will remain with you for a good amount of time thanks to the ambroxan. I know that there are a lot of people out there who are sensitive to ambroxan, and if you are sensitive, I do not recommend to go any closer to Carioca Heart. It is one of the strongest ambroxan-based scents in my collection. The longevity and projection are great, however I tend to go nose blind to this fragrance after a few hours, and then towards the end of the day somehow it comes back to me. I really like the scent profile of this perfume, however I don't find myself wearing it a lot. I will try consciously remind myself to wear it a bit more, as this is one of the more expensive niche perfumes out there. So this was Carioca Heart. It took a while to get to know and then absolutely fall in love with the next perfume. It is Pallas Athene from Argos, which is a slightly spicy, fruity floral fragrance with a very strong amber base. It is again an underrated sister of the other well-known Argos fragrances like Triumph of Bacchus or Birth of Venus. The notes are red berries, bergamot, grapefruit, pink pepper, peony, rose, violet, vanilla, iris, patchouli, sandalwood, vetiver, and amber. It opens with a big burst of tart fruit. I am immediately able to pick out the top notes. The berries are very tart. The grapefruit is even a bit bitter, but these notes are very well blended into the spiciness of the pink pepper. As it is drying down, the rose and peony will become the star of the show, and the violet and iris are delivering some powderiness to the base. What makes this fragrance different from designer fruity florals is the prominent amber base. This amber was eventually the reason why this perfume was not a love at first sniff for me. This amber is very pungent, it hits you in the face, however, it still has something addictive in it. In the deep dry down, this perfume becomes quite lipsticky, which should come from the iris, but the amber base makes it to smell very elegant and expensive. The lasting power of this perfume is a slightly bit better than moderate, but I would still recommend to bring your decant with you. So this was Pallas Athene. Originally I wanted to stick to the one fragrance per house rule, but I have a few Amouage scents that are matching the season perfectly. The first one is Lilac Love, which is a powdery, chocolatey floral fragrance. It carries a strong gourmand touch without being really a gourmand fragrance. It has heliotrope, lilac, gardenia, jasmine, peony and rose in the top, cacao, tonka bean and orris in the mid, and vanilla, sandalwood with some patchouli in the base. You would think of spring when we talk about lilac, but the powdery chocolate notes are really adding some darkness and depth to the scent. It is not a typical gourmand floral fragrance. As always, Amouage always has a twist in their fragrances, and this one is not an exception either. I never thought that a perfume can be this powdery and creamy at the same time. The note of lilac can come across a bit mature, so I recommend testing this one first. However, I think it is also very classy and approachable at the same time. The longevity on me is rather moderate, with quite a strong sillage and projection. So this was Lilac Love. Another contender from Amouage for transitioning into fall is Sunshine Woman. It is a fruity floral fragrance without actually having too much fruits in it. It has the notes of almond, blackcurrant, davana, osmanthus, vanilla, magnolia and jasmine, and white tobacco, patchouli and papyrus in the base. I cannot really smell the blackcurrant, it is rather the apricot touch that it is coming from the osmanthus that makes this perfume really fruity. Even though the opening is really bright, the tobacco is not dry, it is rather a bit moist, which doesn't make the scent to smell like cigarette smoke. As most Amouage fragrances, the longevity and sillage is perfect. You don't need to worry about the performance of this perfume. I have to say, this is very niche smelling. It took some time for me to understand this fragrance. I would not recommend blind buying it. Please sample it first. But it is absolutely beautiful. So this was Sunshine Woman. By the way, if you are still with me watching this video, then likely you are enjoying this content. Please take a moment to hit the like button and also consider to subscribe. The last Amouage perfume in my selection for today is the well-loved Love Delight. I remember when it was released, some reviewers were quite disappointed that it is a quite easygoing Amouage perfume. It is very sweet, warm, spicy, a little bit powdery with some floral touches. The top notes are ginger, mandarin, cinnamon and rosewater. The middle notes are heliotrope, jasmine and rose. And in the base we have vanilla, cacao and cypriol oil. I remember that this was love at first sniff for me. It is like a dessert, but it is still not a real gourmand. I smell the base notes the most. The vanilla and heliotrope make it very sweet and powdery, which is really playing well with the slight booziness of the rum. This rum is not as strong as the rum in Carioca Heart or Born in Roma Extra Dose. Here the rum is just adding an extra dimension to the scent. The ginger and cinnamon in the top are making the scent composition very warm and inviting. They are not too sharp, they blend very well into the composition. This fragrance is very easy to love when the weather becomes a bit more chilly. The performance is good, however, this one needs a retouch somewhere in the middle of the day. So this was Love Delight. I have 3 more fragrances to go through today. The next one is Embody from BDK. This came out earlier this year in spring, and it received quite some love from the fragrance community. I remember that I had the chance to test it before the first videos hit YouTube, and my opinion was also the same as most of the reviewers said. It has some aspects that remind me to guidance. However, I absolutely cannot do guidance. There is something in it that turns my stomach. I swear I tried it multiple times, but it ended up being a scrubber every time I sprayed it on. Embody has the same creaminess, and the rose is done also very similarly, but luckily it doesn't have that hazelnut olibanum combination that I find very disturbing in guidance. It is very dense, very thick and sweet, and it is absolutely a compliment getter. When I received the travel spray of it, I sprayed it on a test strip, and I was able to smell the lingering creamy rose scent around even 2 days later. So this definitely says something about the longevity and projection. In my opinion, due to its strength, I would recommend it rather for fall or early spring when we still have some cooler days. By the way, this bottle may look almost untouched, but it is because I have already gone through a travel size and I cannot wait to dab into the full bottle. So this was Embody. The next one is Blanche Bête from Liquid Imaginaires. It is one of my most favorite niche fragrances in my collection. Whenever I smell it, I picture a mystical forest with a small pond in the middle, and a beautiful glowing white unicorn is leaning forward and drinking from that water. I believe they also mention the matching tarot card on their website, which is Innocence, with a picture of a unicorn. So most probably that's why I associate to a unicorn as well. It is creamy, milky, with some white florals, which are very sweet and enveloping, and they are not indolic at all. The notes are ambroxy, milk, mystical, jasmine, tuberose, mahonia, incense, tonka, cacao, and musky vanilla. To my nose, the creaminess of the white flowers combined with the musky vanilla make this fragrance a bit coconutty, but it is not a sunscreen coconut, it is rather sweetened coconut cream. This is the perfume that I wear when I would like to make an impression, and I want to wear something that will be with me for 10 plus hours. This is that I wear for weddings, parties, but even for work when I would like to feel confident but still a little bit more elevated. It is very sweet, but I feel that it is still very classy. Not too juvenile, but not mature either. Blanche Bête is also great for layering. If you want to make something sweeter or creamier, then this one will definitely deliver. It can be combined with fruity or even floral fragrances as well. So this was the lovely Blanche Bête. The last perfume is my only Fragrance du Bois perfume in my collection. It is Sirène, which is a slightly spicy but very creamy cherry oud fragrance with the top notes of cherry and pepper, middle notes of oud, lactons and incense, and the base notes of benzoin, labdanum, moss, and cypriol oil. This is not only a cherry made to perfection, but it is also a long-lasting cherry fragrance. The oud in it is not disturbing. It is ideal for someone who is a beginner to oud fragrances. The oud makes this cherry scent more grown-up, darker, and adds to the performance of the fragrance. Usually I don't play well with the base notes, however, none of them really disturbs me. I believe it is because they are all very well blended and just grounding the fragrance instead of taking over the show. The longevity and projection are very good. This is a fragrance that will stay with you for an entire day. I'm also interested to try the new Sirene Privé Flanker, which has an added blood orange note, and they amped up the woodiness of the fragrance. I hope that I can try it very soon. But for now, this was Sirene. So this was it for today. Have you tried any of these perfumes? Which fragrances are you going to use in the month of September? Please let me know and share your opinions in the comments. And until the next time, bye bye.